The only person who's done a 30-year study on the development of social hierarchies in dogs, the development of social behavior, and the development of aggression. It's what we studied for 30 years. What we saw amazed us. Now, going in, we were looking for physical dominance. Why? That's what everyone was talking about at the time. Dominance hierarchies in baboons, dominance hierarchies in elephant seals, dominance hierarchies in wolves, dominance hierarchies in chickens. That was the first study, actually. Shelter up Ebb in 1903. Dominance hierarchies in chickens, the pecking order. Dominance hierarchies in herbivores, mountain goat, this sort of stuff. So we did a study, and what we wanted to look at. Our study was about sex differences. Males, of course, growl more, fight more than females. So it's a big sex difference. What we found was loads of fighting within litters. Loads of it. They never stop fighting to establish a hierarchy. And because we have a small group, like a puppy class, we create a bully and we create a wimp. And we measure it with privileged access to bones, toys, sleeping places, things like this. Things that we think dogs like. We don't know what dogs like, but we think they like it. And I think a bone is a pretty cool thing. What we pull out is an absolutely linear male hierarchy that didn't change for 10 years. Now, this is a closed social group. What I mean is it's a group of dogs who live together, no human intervention at all. They live together and they get along or they don't. In our case, they got along. The only input is puppies. Very different from what pet owners do. They have a nice little pack at home, then they bring in a rescue dog, and it blows the whole thing apart. So adult dogs coming together for the first time, very different. All right? So loads of fighting and physical domination within litters. This is how they establish their hierarchies, and it's non-stop. Between litters, much less. And you think about it, it makes sense, right? It's kind of like, look at children. Which sort of kids fight the most? Twin brothers. Okay? Children of the same age and same sex. We found the same with puppies. Well, between litters, they could be different in ages. And so the competition is a non-competition. How can you, as a 4-year-old, fight with your 9-year-old brother? You get it? So now when we talk about between litters, those with puppies, they're all the same age. Lots of fighting, especially between the males. But between litters, if one litter is just 3 weeks older, they have such a physical and experiential advantage that the fight is pre-decided. So you don't get as much fighting between litters. This is growing up. How about between puppies and adult dogs? Didn't see any fights at all. When you think about it, how could an 8-week-old puppy compete with a 10-year-old dog? How could a 12-week-old puppy compete with a 10-year-old dog? How can a 16-week puppy compete with a 10-year-old? I call it developmental nolo contandere, or developmental non-contest. The fight is a non-contest because they're so disparate in age and therefore size and weight. All right? Now, about 4.5 months, something happens. And the puppy's license is cancelled. And now the adults start to really treat it like a developing adolescent jerk. And they deal with it before it becomes a problem. Because if they didn't educate these puppies and they grew up to be adults, they could be bigger than these adult dogs and fight them. But they don't. They never did. So what the hell happens? It's very interesting. Firstly, about 4 months, before 4 months, puppies can do anything and get away with it. Bite this alpha male's tail, so he's there wagging his tail, this damn puppy's attacking it every time. Then they climb up the adult dog and sit on his head and lick his eyeballs. Then they have a bone, and the adult dogs leave the puppy with the bone. This stuff is shocking us. But no female took away a bone from a puppy that was less than 4 months of age. None of them. Only about 40% of males did. Move on 3 months, every adult male takes a bone from a puppy. If you've got a bone, you little puppy, give me a bone. I just rip it away from you. The puppy's like, oh, I was chewing that. You know? What I don't do is jump on you and bite you and hurt you. So for an adult dog to harm a puppy, absolutely abnormal. For an adult dog to fight with a puppy, it's absolutely abnormal. We did not see it. Now again, it's very different from you're walking a dog who's 5 months old and he's meeting dogs he doesn't know, one after the other. Very different, very, very difficult for dogs to work out, very stressful. What happens then is at about 4.5 months of age, and it's correlated beautifully with puppy testosterone. Here's puppy testosterone, there's birth, little blip there, the end of the first trimester. This is what masculinizes the dog's brain and defeminizes it, by the way. They're two different processes, with two different time courses. So you can have a dog that's been demasculinized and also defeminized. Or hasn't been masculinized, but it's been defeminized. Or you could have a dog that's feminized, that's the default setting. All your ladies will be pleased to know. For the mammalian brain, the default setting is female. Unless testosterone's there, and then it messes it up big time. And it masculinizes it and defeminizes it. So anyway, little blip, and then here we go. Woo! That's the same in every mammal, right? Testosterone rising through puberty. Now here's dogs. Woo! 10-month peak. Testosterone level in a 10-month dog is 7 times greater than an adult dog. So we got these results, and I thought, what's going on here? Well, I already had a hypothesis, because I knew from my previous research on olfaction, on smell, that testosterone is what makes male dogs smell male. So what do these developing adolescents smell like? Hypermales. I just call them doggy jerks. Right at this point, all the adult dogs start harassing the puppies big time. So I wanted to show you what they do. We did this yesterday. Remember the exercise yesterday with you? So this little puppy is now 4 months and 1 week old, and he's found a leaf and he's playing with it. And he's a little more active and noisy than we like. Remember what we all did yesterday on the count of 3? On the count of 3, let's all growl at him. 1, 2, 3. And this is really scary. Is it domination? I would say it's kind of psychological warfare, but it's not physical. This puppy then goes, whoa. Okay, now it's really frightening. What happens within 1 week? He learns what to do to stop it, to apologize before it happens. So let's say he's playing there and I come up. He's playing with a twig and I walk in, say I'm the number 2 male. He immediately goes, ooh. Like, Ian, here comes Ian. Ian, I'm a wimp, I'm an ant, I'm nothing compared to you, a great second level dog. And I will acknowledge to him it's okay by just bending a paw or just going, and then we can play. If you don't show that respect and show that proactive appeasement first, I will come up to you and we do the same thing. Yeah, learn your manners. You know, you never look a high-ranking dog in the eye. That's what we're seeing. All right. I told you we're time sampling, right? I told you about representative observation. Well, what we would do is we'd have these periods where we watch the pack, and every 15 seconds, ding, you write down what every dog's doing. And my student comes to me and says, Ian, look at this. It's amazing. I don't know what's going on. We went back 6 years, and we looked at what he was showing me was Whip's chart. Ah, shit. Sorry. Whip was the lowest ranking dog out of all 24 dogs, all 12 dogs, all adult dogs. And they laughed at me for including him, but I included him because he was worthless. He was the lowest ranking dog. Was I glad? When we saw this, I went and showed it to my mentor, said, look at these data. Now, aren't you glad I included Whip? It's one of the best findings I've ever had in development of dog behavior. We went back 6 years and looked at the frequency of growling. So we're observing the pack for like 2 hours. Every 15 seconds we write down what they do. Here is Whip's growling count over 6 years. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Here it is over the last 3 weeks. Dang, dang, dang. What the hell is going on? Then my assistant says, an undergraduate, this is a smart undergraduate, she went on to study fetal alcohol syndrome, which has the same time course as the testosterone. The end of the first third of pregnancy, your brain is very sensitive. No drugs, no antibiotics, no corticosteroids, no alcohol, no nicotine. But it's okay if you were blind drunk when you got knocked up, that's okay. And it's all right to have a few glasses of wine later in pregnancy. Right? Anyway, here's Cassius, the growliest dog there. Okay? But this is over 6 years. You know. And this was the same for all the adult males. Cassius was the growliest. They've all stopped growling. And Whip is growling more than Cassius did. What the hell is going on? It's been going on for 3 weeks. Boink, boink, boink. So we go out and look at the colony, as me and Kathleen go out there and we look, and what we see we don't believe. Here is Whip, the lowest ranking male dog, sitting here like this with a bone in front of him, surrounded by 5 puppies. Sadly we don't have videos on this, but I subsequently filmed it the last 15 years with other dogs. This is what really happens in the dog pack. This is how adult dogs really interact with puppies. Whip is sitting here with a bone, and these puppies are either in sit stays or down stays. This lasted 90 minutes, and it went on every day. Whip is teaching school. If this puppy looks at the bone, oh, this puppy inches forward a little, she backs up. And this goes on for 90 minutes. He doesn't eat the bone, he just has it there. What's happened here? But all the adults think, Whip will take care of the puppies. If he has trouble, we'll help him out. But otherwise, wag our tails and talk about things that dogs talk about. So that's what really happened, that adult dogs teach puppies. On my TV program, there's beautiful footage of these dogs training this adolescent male. I've never seen anything this so beautiful. So here is a 6-month-old adolescent male dog who's weird. He's active. And we filmed him greeting dogs off-leash, on beaches and in parks. And the interesting thing is, every dog he met, he had a different personality. This is what real dog behavior is. Not only is every dog different, but you will react differently to her than you react to him. And your behavior to her will be different if I'm here. This is what it's about. It's so fascinating, this stuff. It's not this simplistic alpha dog makes all the rules. Bullshit, that doesn't happen. We had an absolute linear hierarchy, as I said. It didn't deviate for 10 years. But it changed if we're talking about Sunshine instead of Bones. When it came to Sunshine, Joe, a really easygoing number 4 ranking dog, he wanted the Sunshine. And he would say, not to Ken, the highest ranking, but he would say to the other higher ranking dog, excuse me, look, we made a deal, right? You can have the Bones. I don't care about Bones, but when it comes to Sunshine, I want it, so just move over. But he never growled at them. He just refused to move. You know, this is really complicated stuff. It's really neat. So anyway, we're filming this dog, and a little black and white spaniel comes along. And Dump is doing all the wrong stuff. He's looking at the dog like this. You don't do that. And what this spaniel did was, it came up close, and you can stand up and I'll try and show. It's really important. I'm not going to hurt you, don't worry, right? Stand up, you're really tall, aren't you? Good, just stay there. So what they did was, the spaniel came up like this, and went head like that, and then all the way around his chest like this. Now at this point, you try and move off very slowly. Then he'd turn around and corralled him like this. Then he came round, and really slowly, okay, sit down. Every way this dog tried to do, he just gently walked round him and pushed his shoulder into him. And what happened at the end, Dumpy was left standing like this, going. This dog taught this crazy, active dog to stand stay. Unbelievable. That's what really happens. A socialized dog will teach the puppies and the adolescents. You know, they do not physically slam them. The whole point of a hierarchy, what is the point of a hierarchy? To prevent fights happening. So when we threw out a bone into our pack of dogs, whether it was all 24 dogs, or just the 12 males, you're not throwing out a bone. You're throwing out Ken's bone. Always, the first dog to be able to keep that bone uncontested for 30 seconds was Ken. Now we take him out, we throw the bone out to the other 23. Eddie's going to end up with it. It never deviated. The male dogs always came out in the same order, till we're down to now we're throwing the bone out to just one adult dog, Whip. And Whip gets it. Okay? And then some of the puppies. Next come in the puppies. That would be James will be next. Then Franklin. Then McLaren. Always in that order. The order of the male dogs never varied. Why? They are more aggressive than females. You cannot have a carnivore that kills with teeth killing his own kind. That's the whole point of it. The whole point of a hierarchy is to have no reason to fight. It's like when you go to work, those of you that work, how many of you park in the boss's car parking space? No. That's what it's about. There's no dominance hierarchy there. The boss doesn't stab you when you do it. You just now have a centre office with no windows. All right, let's get down to it. Back to my fallen papers and